Hey, rock stars out there, how you doing? Welcome to the music capital of the entire state of Michigan. I know you're enjoying this stuff, you're enjoying the hip hop stuff, but welcome again to the off night, where it's all off, all night long. It's really good. You got to stick around because we got the best MC and host ever, Mr. Mark Sweetman.
Hey! Good to see
man.
you, my friend. Good to see you. So,
hey, how you doing?
All right. So I got your photos from Las Vegas. What was going on in Vegas again?
I was there at the Star Trek convention.
Ooh.
I went to see and it was very fascinating. I've never been to one before, so I was a fan of the original Star Trek, and I heard that there's going to be some the original guys. George Takei is going to be there.
Okay.
Chekhov is going to be there, and William Shatner, and a special guest was Kelsey Grammer. So I got a chance to see all these guys, and let me show you my
hold on.
Stuff. I got myself a bag.
Save that for when we get everyone out. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll cover that when we get everyone out here. We got a special guest tonight.
Sure.
But before we get to our special guest, I want to bring out our other regular chatter, our veteran of the Comedy Wars, liberal radio talk show host. Exactly. and a fellow transracial parental adopter. Please welcome from New York City, my friend Sam Greenfield. Everyone,
always
good to see you.
Pleasure. Always a pleasure.
Hello.
Transracial adopter. Did you make that up?
Yeah, I did make it up.
It's very impressive,
isn't it? I mean, do you know there is? I could probably. I didn't think about it until one day I'm having a breakfast with Howard Busgang. You remember Howard?
Sure.
And Karen Haber. Remember Karen?
Uh-huh.
And who else was with us that day? Joel Madison. He used to write for Roseanne.
Yeah, love Joel.
Joel Madison.
I knew him when I was in L.A. I hung out with Joel a little when I was in L.A.
There were a couple more that. Oh, I know.
Okay,
There were a couple more. I can't think of them all right now, but there were about 8 of us there, and we're talking, and we realized we had all adopted kids of another race, either African, Asian.
Wow, Joel did too?
Yes.
Okay, that means he wasn't with the woman I met him with about 30 years ago. Because I wouldn't trust her with a child.
Yeah.
There's another way to put this. That was a mean broad.
But yeah. Anyway, Felicia Michaels has adopted.
Felicia Michaels, this is so great. She posed for Playboy, right?
I remember. I was working with her. I was actually doing a Yoder. Yoder booked me with her to tour the month that Playboy came out. Her Playboy came out.
And she said, I can't believe these people are upset with me. I've shown more than that for a lobster dinner. But it's funny. She and I were working together in Boston.
Uh-huh.
And I was up in her hotel room, and I'm single, and she's single, and I'm sitting there going, am I supposed to do something with her now? Because she's very pretty, and I like her and she likes me. But my biggest fear, not my biggest fear, but one of my great fears, when you go to kiss a girl and she backs away.
Yes.
That
do I know it? That was my life until I got married.
Yeah, no, that sends a knife into my chest. Yeah. It's like, because it goes from, hey, what are you doing? And it's it's the worst feeling. And so I said, I'm not going to do that with her, because if I'm wrong, I'm going to look like, first I'm in her room. I'm in a norm, but then I thought, but I'm in her room. She invited me to her, but I said, no, I can't do this.
See, you know what? I'm in her room. That sounds like a Louis C.K. excuse. Well, I'm in her room.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, might as well whip out Mr. Wanky. Yeah.
Exactly. Oh, you guys, hold on. You know what? We have a special guest, and I don't want to have him lose
Please,
on any of this
yes.
stuff. So, he's been on the show before, and I've known him. I don't know. Unclub started 8 years ago, when we first started the Unclub in Ypsilanti about 8 or 9 years ago. And then I joined up with him through Chili Chalice when we were both writing for Ann Arbor Tonight. He has, of course, had the same problems with COVID pandemic and quarantine as all the rest of us. And his show's like our show now, in front of a laptop, interviewing guests online. But he's with us tonight. He had the night off, and Kathy couldn't make it. Kathy Ryan, our normal regular fourth, isn't here. So I asked Zach to join us. So how about a warm welcome, everybody? Here is Zach Damon from Ann Arbor Tonight. Hey, Zach.
Hello, Zach.
Hey,
Hey,
Zach, how you
everybody,
doing?
Mark, Andy, Sam, this is a pleasure. The off night, why not? Let's do it.
Well, that's
How do you think it started? With just those words?
Guys, Sam, it's open bar, right? Come on.
it's like that. It's like when I
was that
started.
what was that Mark Cohen line? I went to a Jewish funeral, closed casket, open casket, closed bar.
Closed bar, yeah.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, the off night, the name came from the idea that it was kind of goofy because every night was an off night when we started this in April of 2020. Nobody was out doing anything, and I just called it the off night because back when I started back in 79, 80, everybody worked every night. I mean, it was like
every night.
We weren't making a living, but I mean, it was the clubs were running either Wednesday to Sunday or Tuesday to Saturday. Mm-hmm. And then if there was an off night, you really were working. And if you weren't working, you went over to the local comedy club. And I think they called them a comedy club. They're no longer comedy clubs. They're comedy businesses. They're bars that show comedy.
They're bars with a microphone.
Exactly. Yeah. But back then it was like a club because everybody sort of, gathered and, I went to a club. I don't know how long it's been now. It's probably been about 10 years since I did this, but I had the nerve to go back and, the Pepsi gun that had the soda button where you push the button, the soda bar, you push the button for the flavor you want. Mm-hmm. I've been doing this 40 years. I didn't think anything of going back there, grabbing a glass and, getting myself a soda, and things have changed.
Yes.
I'm no longer, it's no longer a club anymore. I am now a patron of the place or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Yeah, guys.
But we called the show the off night because that's what it was. We wanted it to be like that when we would get together. And if it wasn't an off night and we did have a show, often we'd meet at a diner, at some kind of diner or here in Detroit.
After whatever show there was.
After whatever show there was. And, we had guys. Sam, when you were coming up, did you have guys that were funnier at the diner after the shows than they were during the shows?
There were, Bill Sheft, who was a great writer.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Yeah. Is funnier, and I hope he doesn't. Well, he's not going to hear me, but this isn't a knock. He's funnier off than on. Yep. He's more of a writer, and I remember there were 9. This is one of the nicest nights of my life. We were sitting at the West Side Diner on 9th Avenue, just around the corner from the original Improv, and Tony, I can't remember his last name. It's the same name as an actor, and I can't think of his name. Italian guy. He was the guy who played the club owner who's like Tiki Lounge burned to the ground in Goodfellas. That guy. But it's same name. Anyway, we're all sitting around, and this is when you could smoke in a restaurant. And this is when some of us smoked. And they gave Tony, God damn, I should remember his last name. Somebody look that up. The actor who played that.
Goodfellas. Anyway. Okay.
He played the owner of that lounge that, remember, Joe Pesci wouldn't pay the bill?
Actor who played Tony, who owned the lounge in Goodfellas.
No, his real name is Tony.
Oh, it's really? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Go to IMDb, it'll show it.
All right.
Anyway. So they give Tony, this guy, my friend Tony, they give him one of those, Native American cigarettes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And he takes a puff, and we all smoked. And he takes a puff, and he goes, "Tastes like shit." And Bill goes, "We're going to go with tastes great." Got a huge kick out of that.
Well, you take
Oh,
a couple
man.
more drags, I'm sure it would taste great.
Yeah. I always thought it was Native American revenge.
Mhm.
You know, but it was just so much fun doing that. And he also wrote for Sports Illustrated.
He did.
Bill Sheft.
Oh, wow.
Golf writer. He was a golf writer, wasn't he? I think so.
A little bit of everything.
Yeah.
A little bit of
Oh
everything.
no, I know what it was. His dad or his uncle was a golf writer for Golf Digest or something like that.
That's correct. I think it was his dad.
Do they have to whisper when they're
Yes,
writing too?
Yeah.
I hope so. I hope so. This is the
Yeah.
best article. Shh.
Exactly.
I'm now writing the article.
That's right. Yeah, still writing.
There, what was the line? I can't remember. I think it was John Heyman who said, "You never see anybody do," and this turned out not to be true after a while. You never see anybody do sports commentary on miniature golf. He says,
Oh, that's
"Joe's
funny.
in trouble. He's stuck behind a windmill.
Right.
But if he can get this into Clowney's nose, it's a free game." But actually, I have seen on ESPN, they showed commentary on miniature golf. And the terrible part was it was a putt-putt, which is just essentially straight shot, no hills, no.
Mhm.
And the final score was like 21. I mean,
Yeah.
it was ridiculous. But the prize is like $5,000.
Are the players wearing Crocs and sweats or what?
They were actually dressed like actual golfers.
Really?
They were
Wow.
actually dressed. And I'm thinking some of these guys, their outfit costs more than what they're going to win.
Right.
And I also wondered, did they like you and I get the club from the place, or did they bring one? I mean, it's got to be miniature golf. Jesus, I always wondered that.
I think the worst game that has become professionalized is cornhole. I mean, who wants the title of cornhole, best cornhole in town?
Cornhole?
Exactly. You know what? I mean, when I was a kid, cornhole was not a game.
That's right, brother. It was me and you and a dog named Boo. That's right.
Yeah. Oh, that's what the dog's name is.
Question, Mark.
Yes.
Is there anyone in your house who's a female right now who could hear me?
No females that can hear you right now.
Okay. This came from Larry Amorose.
Oh God, I love Larry.
Old MacDonald had Tourette's. E-I-E-I cunt.
Oh, we've crossed the line, man. Okay.
It's the off night.
It's the off night. There we go. Okay.
That's the best joke I've heard all year. That joke kills me. There's like 9 people on the planet I can tell it to.
Got it.
And three of them are here.
Right
over here, and there's one
God.
guy out there who's watching us.
I roared when I saw that. I just died. Oh my God.
Ugh.
Well, guys,
Zach, tell me about you.
I got so restless.
Anyway, Zach.
Go ahead.
Zach's here, so I think we should do a little hosting and ask Zach, how's your TV show going? I was talking before I brought you on about how you had to go online like the rest of us did, but
yeah, guys. Well, thank you. I mean, Ann Arbor Tonight, like everyone. I mean, they're all using that buzzword. I don't like using it anymore because it just reminds me of that Friends episode from the 90s. Pivot. But now everybody says pivot because it's just the word to say. So we've pivoted.
Right.
We, did the same thing. Our studio was shut down, no one's in studio production. And so we, started Ann Arbor Tonight at home. And so I just began hosting the show, right from my bachelor pad apartment here in Ann Arbor. Mark, you've been here a few times. It's
sure.
Cozy. And, so we've been doing that. And, guys, it hasn't, it's been good. We've enjoyed it, had some good lineups. Quorum Chic, good friend of ours, just joined the last episode, did a great job. and and then he did a great show down at Mark Ridley's. So that was a great room, and I was glad to see that club was back open. But yeah, Ann Arbor tonight at home doing some great things, and then I'm very excited to announce, you guys, we actually won 2 community media awards this year. So
congratulations!
Thank you. So yeah, we got in, and then they liked our stuff.
Wait a minute. Hold on. Before we go any further, was my name attached to these awards in any way?
Oh, Mark, I got to tell you, it is a team effort. So everybody that's involved.
So you gave credit to everybody. Is it? I'll have to go back and I'll have to go back in YouTube. I'll have to go back and check the YouTube speech where you thanked me. So,
and I want to see who came in second place. That's what I want to know. Who came in second place?
Who did you beat? Who did you beat?
Who did you beat? Was it the chicken?
It wasn't the smoking cockroach or the pizza rat, was it?
Was it the guy? Was the guy with the wolf hat on doing the violin? Was that the guy you beat? Was that him?
Okay. I think it was actually. You guys ever seen that film where it's just the plastic bag in the wind? I think it's that one.
I see.
That's American Beauty.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. No, just kidding. But we actually,
Zach, I'm blowing wind up your dress. But
sure,
in reality, Ann Arbor is a good place to win an award from. I mean, there's a lot of talented people for the town the size of Ann Arbor. Ann Arbor's got a lot of talent, so you did a good job.
Absolutely. And honestly, you guys, I feel very, very, honored because we beat out, Ohio, productions from Ohio and different areas of the Midwest.
Oh, so multi-state.
Yeah, from other states. So
okay.
We're not laughing now, are we?
No, we're not.
So I feel very fortunate, and
I'm going to negotiate for larger font for my credit on that show, though. Because
I want higher tips for my taxi driver.
I think is what you want. Yeah.
Right.
In lieu of a raise.
I want better than 20% in my taxi driving. Okay.
For sure. Absolutely. But so that's been good. And then, guys, I got to admit, though, just doing so much and not being around the crew. I mean, you're spoiled when you're in studio. You get the catering, you got the makeup,
and more pickle chips.
We had we had a couple of things go wrong. I mean, one, Chili dies, and then we have the COVID right now a year after that, and that's a couple of huge blows because Chili kind of drove that thing, and getting the audiences at the beginning. I mean, you got your own audiences now, but before we were an entity, Chili really did a good job of getting those audiences in there. So
yeah, he absolutely did, and Chili's always going to be with us, always a part of the show, and it was really touching to speak at his funeral a while back, and yeah, it was an unfortunate, but you know what I have to say, that I'm beyond grateful for the connection there, Mark. And
no problem. Glad I was able to hook you guys up. That's for sure.
Well, and also just for the time. I mean, the memories of all of us sitting here at the apartment doing the writers' meetings and writing the monologues and laughing and the different desk sets that we were doing, desk pieces. So a lot of great memories. Really enjoyed it. And
I tell you, I'm ready to go back and do that. I'm ready to do some supermarket or some dollar store finds. As soon as we can get that studio back, I'm ready to go out and do that again. That was a lot of fun.
Absolutely.
I saw something in the paper on Facebook, and you know how you read something and just the headline makes you laugh?
Yes.
10 things you shouldn't buy at dollar store. And I thought, and all I could think of was 10.
Right.
10.
You mean those steaks aren't good? I mean, come on.
Come on.
Yeah.
The one that has a rat tail coming out of it, that's not good.
That's extra protein, Sam.
I feel like a fool. You're absolutely right.
Number one on my list of things you shouldn't buy at dollar
stores.
Aisle 2. I think number one on my list is prune juice. Do not buy your prune
Oh God. That would be 1 through 9.
That's
for me,
a running joke right there, buddy. Woo.
Thank you.
Oh man. Oh my God.
Anyway, so I'm glad to hear things. I'm glad that the show kept going, kind of like what we're doing here. I mean, audience or not, at least you're getting it. Like I said, I've watched it at least through your monologues, because that's pretty much what I had to do with the show, was the the comedy end of it is all what I had to do with it.
Sure.
I mean, I enjoy watching your guests when I'm there, but when I'm watching it on my TV, and I got, I have Facebook Watch and YouTube, all that stuff I've got on my TV now, which is great.
Okay.
So, because I'm watching on TV and not on my laptop, which is
right.
It makes it a lot better. And actually, you'd be surprised how good your computer equipment comes out when it's on television rather than
well, absolutely. I mean, well, first of all, let's rewind here. Like when the pandemic first started, had any of you guys even known of Zoom? I didn't know. I thought it just like appeared out of nowhere. Like so.
Well, it was the right idea at the right time.
Yeah, yeah.
What I'm really disappointed.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
What Zoom didn't do is Zoom had, and it turns out they've had 18 months, but they really should have done it in the first 6 months. They should have had an IPO.
Oh yeah.
I mean, I don't understand who was in charge of Zoom and getting that all together.
Wasn't there something similar to Zoom that died?
I'm not sure. I mean, I'm grateful for Zoom.
I believe it was
for StreamYard too.
I believe it was called MySpace. I think it was.
I thought it was Prodigy.
Prodigy. I tell you what, until about 2 years ago, I still had a Prodigy email address.
Get this, Hannity. If you want to email Hannity, it's at AOL.
All right.
That's funny.
Hannity is Gaelic for newfangled. He has no clue. Seriously, AOL. Jesus.
Hey man, if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
There you go.
Listen, says Zach, who says he still uses his AOL. Zach still uses his AOL address.
You know what? I do, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because like when you've been using an address for it's like a cell phone number. You've been using that thing for so long, and when you're in our business and a performer. I mean, you get these contacts and you never know if they're going to transfer over. It's always a crapshoot. So, I use it to be able to reference, some of the old contacts that I have on the list, and then, some of the old things. But I mean, I do have a Gmail as well, so I am, up with it, of course. But
my daughter told me that this is like 5 years ago. She said, or 6 years ago. She goes, "You do understand. You're the only man in the United States who is on AOL, except for Sean Hannity. And that is not," she goes, "and that is not a point of pride."
Yeah, that's enough to get you off right there. If you're
when your daughter says, "Look here," she's staying with us now because she had bunion surgery.
Oh,
so she's got a cast up to her knee. And she went. I took her to the doctor today. He says she's doing fine, but she danced for 9 years, and hence the bunions.
Got it.
And so she's staying with us. And my wife says, "What's going to happen? You're going to wind up waiting on her hand and foot." I went, "That's exactly right. That's exactly what I'm going to do." Mm-hmm. That's exactly what she goes. "And you're okay with that?" I go, "No, I think she should get up and crawl to the fucking." Of course. Yes. She can't. She's on crutches, Barbara. The idea is you wait on her hand and foot till she recovers. Jesus Christ! Did you tell Cinderella to get your gown ready for the ball?
Hello.
Holy shit!
Hello.
Hey,
man, oh man.
The thing is, she's the one that's handling my retirement. So what do you think I'm going to do?
Exactly.
Well, that's, by the way, ditto. But my daughter said, "Listen, I just got a job with a very well-known fashion photographer, and eventually I'm her assistant now, but eventually," she said, because she's 55, she wants to make me an equal partner." And I said, "You're the greatest daughter that God ever put on earth."
Oh, that's nice.
And she said, "Because of that?" I said, "Yes, and only that."
There you go.
And
guys, I'm a bachelor. I don't have kids yet. I'm telling you. I admire. Well, that's classified.
Wow, holy
shit.
There's
a man that's got a talk show. He's got to hide his age.
It's classified.
No, I mean,
you're younger than me, and so I'm telling you, take your time.
Gotcha.
Take your
he's-
time.
He's younger than he's younger than two of my kids. So
Then really take your time.
Okay.
There's
No need to
no
rush.
rush. There's no rush to that.
Yeah, Sam,
I'm very happy, but take your time because
Absolutely.
I was married before, and I'm going to give you a compendium of the first year of my marriage, which is why I'm telling you take your time. You ready?
I'm ready.
In the first year, she gained 85 pounds.
holy cow. Oh
That's one. Two.
That's
that
why you
should
need a
be enough.
prenup. That's why you need a prenup right there.
Two. Okay. She decided that rye whiskey was a food group. Okay. Okay. And three. And I didn't know this, and neither did she. To be fair, she was bipolar. So while we were in Jamaica on a vacation, she had a complete nervous breakdown, and I had to get her out of that country on a plane. And she's leaning over to people, going, "You have to arrest me. I've given people chlamydia and AIDS." Okay. So we get back to this country, and her brother and sister pick her up. They take her to a mental health facility in Scranton, because that's where she's from. I go visit her.
Now I've been to Scranton. I got to tell you,
it is a mental health facility.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
I was just going to say, she had many things against her to begin with.
Well, how about her father owned a bar and she drinks?
There you go. A Scranton bar, no less.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he owned it. Yeah. And so I go to visit her at the mental facility, and there's a guy sitting, and this is something I learned. According to psychiatrists, there's no such thing as lazy. If you're bipolar, because given their option, bipolar people won't leave bed. They won't get up. Okay. They have no desire, so there's a guy sitting there who's in her group, and they make them get up. They will not let them. So his mother is with this kid, and she goes, "Are they treating you okay? Is everything all right? How's the food?" And he does this. Willkommen, bienvenue, welcome. He sings the entire song. And
from Cabaret.
Yes, and Julie says, "What do you think of that?" I go, "His pitch is perfect."
Well, I was going to say, your pitch was pretty good too, Sam.
Thanks. Well, I just got a job offer to sing on a cruise.
Wow.
And I may take, but my wife said, "But you have to get I'm a cancer survivor." And she said, "But you have to get a Velcade shot every week." I said, "I think they have a ship's doctor."
Yeah, they do. I think so.
I think of course, it's Bernie Capel. But
yeah, right. I thought it was Benny Boom Bots. It's not
Benny. Bernie. Hey, welcome to the Love Guy.
I'd like to talk to you, Sammy, but I'm banging the ship's steward. Yeah,
that's right. My expertise is in gonorrhea and chlamydia. There we go.
Speaking of Love Boat,
that or hangovers, because they spend a lot of booze. They have a lot of booze on those cruise ships.
The worst line I've ever heard on Love Boat, and I watched it, was Michelle Lee, who's before your time, Zach. Michelle Lee was an actress who was actually like a poor widow. Her husband left her some money. He was a laborer. And she takes the money and goes on the cruise and acts like a society dame. And in a total violation of anything that's real on a ship, Captain Steubing hits on her. And he takes her back to his room. The worst line I've ever heard, he looks at her and goes, "May the captain kiss the lady?" You can still hear my scream. That is the worst line. If I was her, I'd go, "I wanted to do you, but not after that shit. Jesus, you're pathetic." Oh, man.
Well, I would just say something like, "Well, honey, I don't mean to rock the boat, but, we're in the room, right?"
Hey, I'm in the uniform. What do you want?
It's like Sam and Felicia. Come on.
We're in the room. Yeah.
Well, we're in the goddamn room. I mean, what the heck? Oh, by the way, this is funny, not awful. The guy who played Gopher, Fred Grandy.
Yeah.
One week they had guests playing his parents. I will give you till the end of time to guess who they were. So I'll tell you. Robert Cummings, get ready, and Ethel Merman.
All right.
Ethel
And
Merman.
I said to a friend of mine, she can't have kids. Ethel Merman doesn't have kids.
Well, she
What do
was
you-
married to Ernest Borgnine. Come on.
Well, you know the story about that, right? Their marriage lasted 7.5 weeks. And he made a movie called Willard about a man who gets, from the song Ben by Michael Jackson.
Right.
Yeah.
And he plays a guy who gets eaten by rats. And the
Right.
story goes that Ethel Merman used to go to the movie theater and watch that movie every day for 3 weeks until the part where he gets eaten by rats. Then she'd leave.
Oh, geez. Wow.
Yeah.
Is he dead? Oh my God.
Wow, guys.
Oh God.
Wow.
Man, that's
Wow.
it. Well, speaking of movies, I don't know about you guys, but I've been reading a lot more and watching a lot more films, especially about history. And I finally figured out why they called those gentlemen the Minutemen. It's because they were bad lovers, fellas. Come on.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
60-second man.
The
That's
60-second one.
that's right.
60-second man.
Yeah, they lied to you and say, well, that means we're ready to fight in a minute. No one's ready to fight in a minute.
Right.
Well, they went
No
up to
one.
Breed's Hill. Come on. They had to be breeders, you know?
No, exactly.
Breeds.
And those outfits, who are they kidding?
Come on.
Well, and then
Right,
I got
I've got the Goodfellas cast. There's just to let Zach know. We'll take care of this. Then we're going to go to Susan's poem, which then sets the agenda for our topics of discussion.
Always a good poem, Zach.
Always a good poem. She sometimes is here to read it. She wasn't here tonight, so I'll read it.
All right.
But I got the Goodfellas cast, and we're looking for the actor's name is Tony, right?
Right.
Okay. It is now a Martin Scorsese film. You wouldn't believe how many Tonys are in this cast.
I have an idea. Oh, by
Well,
the way,
we
I can give you help. He's about 81 years old now.
Bruno.
Oh, yeah.
Well,
You know
if
what they
the-
have?
if the-
IMDb has recent pictures, so maybe I can find him from there.
if the
Tony.
viewer-
I would
if
put
the
him
viewers-
9th or 10th, maybe 11th.
How about you know what? There's two guys named Tony that their name in this movie is Tony too, which I guess makes sense.
Well,
Let me
remember
see.
what she said when she was getting the money? Everybody here is named Anthony and Michael.
Right, right. And you say he
Wait.
has the same name. He has the same name as another actor.
No, he has the same name as a comedian.
Oh, well, that makes it easier.
Bushy-haired comedian, black hair, lives in Westchester County.
Hold on, Tony. How big a part was this?
He was the guy who owned the Tiki Lounge that got torched.
Well, let's ask the viewers this trivia question, and the next episode we can reveal the answer.
Oh,
I'm not that
there-
young.
There's a show
Yeah.
host.
That's
I
a
know.
great idea. I'll be 92 by the time we get an answer.
There you go.
God, I love these names in this cast.
Give us one.
Okay, Tony Lip.
No.
He
Well, you know who
played-
Tony Lip is.
Yeah.
Well, when you
Tony
hit
Lip
Johnny
is the guy
Roast
who
Beef, I can
drove-
tell you a story
No,
about
no,
him.
No. Wait. Tony Lip is the guy who drove Dr. Donald Shirley around in the Green Book.
Yes,
That's him. That's
Yeah.
the chauffeur.
I know.
And
Hey,
he got
Bob, guess who's in the cast? Bob Golub's in the cast. I didn't even.
He played the truck driver. Oh, I got to tell you this story. He plays the truck driver who allows his truck to be hijacked, right?
Yeah.
And he
Okay.
comes back into the diner and he goes, "Two niggers just stole my truck." And Mike Ivy said, "The line was two guys, but Bob improvised."
Margaret Smith is in the cast. Holy crap!
That's not a Tony. You're killing us.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Anthony Valentin.
No.
Wait till you get their Johnny Roast Beef.
Hold on. We got there's
Nikki two
Robert.
times.
this cast just goes on
Yeah,
forever.
I'm gonna get the
man.
papers. Get the papers.
Yeah.
Gotta
Tony
get the paper.
Tony Sirico.
No, Tony
Oh, yeah.
Sirico played Paulie Walnuts in The Sopranos.
Yeah.
Probably
he
won't.
did. Tony Conforti.
Nope.
But those last three guys I mentioned all played guys named Tony. All right, what do we got here? Yeah, Jerry Vale was in it. Played Jerry Vale. How about
He
that?
sang.
Yeah. I gotta watch that movie again. Tony Darrow
Yes,
played Sonny Buns.
that's him.
That's him?
That's him. And Tony Darrow's a comedian.
Oh, okay.
And if
Awesome.
his last name is actually Tony Darrow, okay, I'm 6'3".
Okay.
By the way, Jerry Vale sang a very famous song of his in that movie, Pretend You Don't See Her. Pretend you don't see her, my heart. So he says to Pat Cooper, I was there for this. He goes, hey, did you see me in Goodfellas? He goes, and Tony, and fuck, puts his name, Pat Cooper. He couldn't compliment a woman after an orgasm, okay? He says to him, who gives a shit? They saw the back of your head.
Well, I mean, he got paid, right?
Oh, you bet your ass he sang. You bet he got paid.
Yeah, for sure. Got paid twice. All right, here's our topic poem. Here's Zach, since you were here with us last, my wife writes a poem with the topics of the week, and we kind of use this as our launching point for topics. We try to keep it funny. It's not always funny, but we try
it's
to keep
always
it funny.
good though.
It's always good. Oh, good discussion all the time. Here we go. Afghanistan's fallen. Troops have been called in. Taliban's back in power. Afghan people now cower. Haiti earthquake is sad. Storm also looks bad. T-Mobile was breached. Cuomo won't be impeached. Delta surge on the rise. This is not a surprise. Anyway, so there's our topics.
Always good.
Always good. Always.
The news this week is so depressing.
Yeah.
Well, the only thing that would make
Can I have a shirt that says that, Sam? I'm just gonna wear that.
That says what?
The news this week is so depressing because really, every day I turn it on and they say good evening and then they tell me why it's not. So I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, I remember when the orange turd said that if he lost, he would just go away. And my wife looked at me and said, there is no chance on God's earth that he's going away.
Yeah.
So now he says that, I love this. He says that Biden should resign in disgrace. And if anyone can point a man to disgrace, it's him.
Yeah.
I wish he would just shut his mouth. I mean, why is a 74-year-old man who eats McDonald's alive? Why is he alive? I don't understand.
Yeah, I can answer.
It's the preservatives. Come on,
No. I can answer that. I asked my doctor that. He doesn't smoke. He doesn't drink. And no matter how fat that piece of shit is, and no matter what he eats, not smoke, and he's never smoked. Not smoking and not drinking is huge in keeping you alive, which is why for Christmas I sent him a carton of Marlboros.
Well,
I hope he's enjoying the wild turkey I sent him.
Please,
Yeah.
But enough of his wife.
Hello.
I'll send him some spam. That'll get him.
I don't like what they said about the way I did the rose garden. You didn't do anything, you talentless twat. You did nothing. Jesus, you did something. Oh,
hey,
God.
I am not a what do you call it? Will you
Corrine?
I'm not a Photoshop memer, but if I were, I think I'd put that MAGA shaman that was at the January 6th break-in of the Capitol somewhere in Kabul. I just think that Kabul presidential palace looks like what the Capitol building looked like in January.
You know something? He looks like the loneliest guy in the world. He just looks like a guy who just has no life, because you wouldn't dress like that. I mean it. You wouldn't put on a getup like that if you had anything approaching an actual life.
That's true.
I mean, seriously. He looks like a guy who goes to a college football game dressed like that, but he's 40. It's sad. The guy who thought he was at the White House, and when he was at the Capitol, the judge said, "I can't try this guy. He's nuts. I can't do it." And I don't think he was doing it as a subterfuge. I think he's that stupid.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I don't know why everyone, first of all, is given such a hard time. I mean, look, McDonald's is fine. I love their breakfast.
Exactly. Nothing better.
Yeah.
Oh, by the way, for those of us who, I don't know if you know this guy, Zach, and Andy, I don't know if Andy, do you know Mark Schiff?
I do.
No.
He's a comedian. He's been around, Zach. He's been around for like 45 years.
Okay.
And he had a nice career.
He opens. He still has a career. He opens for Jerry Seinfeld all over the place.
Yeah.
Still?
He still opens for Jerry Seinfeld. Yep.
God, Seinfeld's taste is in his ass. Anyway, Anyway, he is a far right winger now. He's a MAGA, and he made this quote the other day on Facebook. And this guy's an Orthodox Jew. Let's not forget that this is a Christian nation, and that we should thank the Christians for allowing us Jews to live here.
Holy shit!
Wow.
So I wrote him, and I said, I have 3 points. It is not a Christian nation. And if you don't believe me, look at the quotes from our founding fathers.
Hey,
look
gentlemen,
at any of the
I'm
quotes
so
from our
sorry.
founding fathers about Christian or any religion. It's not just Christian, any religion. They were damn near agnostics. Okay, that's number one. Number two, you are supporting someone who supported a group of people who were yelling, Jews will not replace us. And
Gentlemen,
number three,
so sorry. I gotta run. My time is up. So I didn't mean to interrupt, Sam.
Don't say it in such a fatalistic way.
Yeah. When you say
all right, Zach.
You'll say you.
Zach,
say
it was
you'll be
great
back.
talking to you.
Good to see you again.
Talk to you. Watch out for the Homeland Security. So
what's that?
So watch out for Homeland Security. So I think it's the guy that's watching us.
Well, all these comments were not mine, so I'll just say that.
Hey, try to give me a
month. Met these men before in my life.
Try to give me a month's notice before we get back in the studio.
Yeah, I'll try to give you guys a heads up. I hope to see all you guys there. That'd be great.
Awesome. Yeah, we can get Sam to Detroit to do the show.
All right. Yeah, we want to sit on the couch and just eat popcorn and just give you crap. That would be great.
I was going to say sit on the couch and eat dates, but that sounds dirty.
Yeah, it does sound a little dirty.
That's
a little dirty.
Well, and really quick, just to end it off, I want to let you guys know I tried something very, very, very interesting last week. I was getting antsy just because of the pandemic. I took an Uber all the way to the Ford, Wyoming drive-in. And of course, it was great. Got the 2 movies, but they cost me $95, man.
Jesus.
What movies did you watch?
Yeah. I can't even remember at this point, but
for $95, you should remember.
Yeah. No, I think
should be the best movies ever made.
Yeah, that's right. Well,
kidding.
I think I saw it was that new Jungle movie that came out. That was cool.
With The Rock,
Jungle
Dwayne Johnson and Emily Blunt.
Cruise. Yeah, Jungle Cruise, and then there was also, it was like I think that Detroit film as well. So
that was the price of an e-ticket if you went down to Florida to go to the jungle ride.
Right. Zach, if you were at the Ford, Wyoming drive-in theater, the best show was not up on the screen. It was probably in all the cars around you. So
I hope so.
Yeah, that's right. My Uber driver was creeping me out, so I had to get out of there quick.
Got it.
All right, guys.
Hey, we'll see you next time, Zach. Thanks for coming aboard.
Stay well.
Absolutely, you guys. Thank you so much. All the viewers, check out the off night. Take a look at Mark Sweetman, Andy Jensen, and of course, the wonderful Sam Greenfield. Great to meet you, Sam. Have a good night.
Pleasure's mine. Thank you.
All right.
Good night.
Live long and prosper, man.
He's not a MAGA, is he? I didn't piss him off, did I?
Oh no, he's not a MAGA. He's
MAGA.
Anyway, so he also said he's a MAGA. So I said to him, I said, listen, I'm not in it to Schiff. I'm not an Israeli. The only reason you like Trump is because he moved the embassy to Israel, to Jerusalem. That's the reason you like him. But he didn't do it for you. He did it for the evangelists. I said, there can't be another reason. This guy's father was in the Klan. What are you doing? So I talked to Glenn Hirsch, who's an old buddy. Yeah. And I said, what happened to Schiff? And he goes, hell if I know. He said, he's far right wing. It's all about it. And I talked to Glenn because he's Jewish. And I said, what, he said, he's far right wing and he's a MAGA. And I go, does he have a clue what Trump thinks of Jews? Does he have a clue what he said to that group of people, how we're crafty with money? Does he listen to any? It's all about Israel. As long as he thinks he's supporting Israel, he wouldn't care about anything else. Nothing. It's sad.
Wow.
He's still opening for Seinfeld, huh?
Well, I don't know if he does every show, opens every show for Seinfeld, but I mean, in the past, during the pandemic, he was.
I asked a friend of mine, I said, what is the key to opening? And I just happened to mention his name, to opening for someone like Seinfeld. And he said, you have to be, this is such a great description. You have to be talented, but innocuous.
Mark Schiff.
No one's going to leave the room saying that first guy was funny.
Mark
They
Schiff.
may like him. They may like him, but they're not going to say the first guy was funny.
Now, you just talked about my entire career. There you go. It's like, the innocuous comic, I'm not going to even mention his name. Please come up and do an opening bit. Thank you.
Who's the most famous person you ever opened for, Andy?
Oh, God.
That's famous.
There we go. He was pretty tough.
God,
tough to open for.
Yeah, it's pretty
A rough guy, you know. The guy who does Price is Right now. I think that's the most famous one.
Drew Carey.
Drew Carey.
I think the most famous person I ever opened for, but I was a musician, was The Who. But I was in a band. But the most famous person I ever opened for, I don't know. I opened for the Temps. I opened for Juice Newton. I opened for Soupy Sales, which was such a pleasure. What a great guy. Jesus Christ. Here's what the first night we worked together, it was in Fort Myers, Florida, at a club. And I did 20 minutes. So the second night, the owner says, Subi wants you to do 15. Is that okay? I said, whatever he wants. Whatever he wants. By the last 3 nights, I was doing 5 minutes. And I got paid the same. Yeah. He said, I hope you're not mad at me. That's how he talks. I hope you're not mad at me. I said, no, it's your show. No one's coming here to see me. He said, I just want so much time on stage, and I know it's greedy. I said, whatever you want. I said, in fact, I won't show up tomorrow, but I still want to get paid. He goes, you son of a bitch. You're my kind of, he says, you're my kind of comedian. And there was a guy who, people at the time, I'll tell you what year it was 88. People who were millennials, what were they? They were boomers. They adored him. So one of the people who came to see him the first night owned a car dealership, and he provided Soupy with a trailer, like a star trailer.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And so Soupy was, he's dead now. He was married to Trudy, and Trudy was a June Taylor dancer. And she couldn't have been nicer. And so he says, you want to come in, have a bite to eat with us? And I said, well, no, it's your trailer. I said, get your ass in here. And I go in, there's cracked crab, there's champagne. And I said to Trudy, I said, this was so nice of him to invite me in. And she goes, he never invites anybody in. I said, well, why me? Because you're the first person who never bitched about getting your time cut.
There you go.
I said, but I said, listen, I'm not trying to be, disingenuous. It's his show. No one goes, oh, Sam Greenfield. No one's doing that. It's fine. I'm getting paid really good money. Yep. The hotel, by the way, was so new. It was a Holiday Inn. Oh. I could walk, I'm not kidding. I could walk naked out of my room to get ice.
Wow.
and did.
That's a feature.
The only thing good that happened, not the only thing, but one of the good things that happened was, I was at the like bar, at the club, at the Holiday Inn, and this woman said, "I saw your show tonight." I said, "Well, that was Soupy Sales' show." She goes, "Not for me," and I went, "Oh, really? Well, I happen to." Did
you see the first show? Did you see the first show or the second show?
I love that's the greatest line ever. First or second show, that's the greatest line ever. I said, well, in that case, I have to have a penis with me, and if you'd like to, check out Wee Willie, it would be my pleasure. And we spent the night together.
Wow!
But this is so great. Guess. I'm working in DC, and there's a female comic who says to me, we're at Garvin's, the old Garvin's on Connecticut Avenue. And she says to me, where are you going after you leave here? I said, oh, I'm going home. She said, well, how far do you live from here? I said, I don't know, 12 blocks. She goes, and what are you doing tomorrow morning? I said, well, it's Thursday. I'm going to the gym. She goes, can you take me to Union Station? I said, yeah, where will you be? I'll pick you up. She goes, I'll be with you. I said, you're spending the night with me? She goes, yes. Diane Ford.
There we go.
Diane Ford.
And then 6 years later, is it 6? 6 years later, I'm on a show called Girls Night Out. They had 4 female comics and 1 male. Who was the host? Diane Ford.
There
And by this time, I'm with Barbara. And Barbara says, do you know Diane Ford? I went, yeah. Why? Don't ask again. Don't ever ask again. Mark, are you sleepy? You look tired.
I'm a little bit tired, yeah.
Wow. Yeah,
I'm concerned about you. That's all.
Mark, what was the name of the third room, the strip club after the Holly Hotel? Like the Sunday night Holly Hotel, it was a strip club.
Oh, up in Flint? Is that the one you're talking about?
Up in Flint, yeah. That was like that was the 4th night.
That should be the name of That should be the name of a play.
You did Thursday, Friday, and Saturday at the Holly Hotel, and then they booked you at a one-nighter in Flint on Sunday night. I remember that.
Yeah.
I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of it too, but it's like
it was actually a nice room. I mean,
it was a nice room, and actually Soupy Sales was doing the New Year's Eve that night, and they hired me to just do the one night there at the strip club.
Uh-huh.
And so I opened for them, and then they wanted me to do like this, come out and be like the New Year's Eve baby. So I said, okay, how much am I getting paid for this? Okay, all right, whatever.
Perfect.
Exactly.
Just perfect.
But, you know, Soupy came back to town when I was still here. After I moved to LA, I kind of lost touch with him. But he came back to town every week, once a month. And we're talking about in the late 80s, when there were enough rooms, you know, between Holly Hotel and Ridley's and Joey's Dearborn and Ann Arbor, and you remember
places, yeah,
all those places. Yeah. There were enough for him to, and whoever would work him twice a year, he would do. And then, but not every club would do that. Some clubs would only have a comic every 2 years. It didn't matter if it was Soupy Sales or, you know, Joe Schmo, right? So, but he would come back and he would do a room once a month, and it would be some room, and a lot of places would take him, and he didn't really make that much money, but what he did was he would play these 200, 300 seat rooms. They'd sell out, and then he would go and he'd rent his own hall for the weekends he couldn't get a club, and he made more money on that than he did working in the clubs.
Oh, I bet he did.
Yeah,
bet he did.
Basically what he did was he would go out and he would rent Andiamo's or you know, one of those other places that were sort of like half restaurant, half banquet hall, and you know, and he'd hire everything in, and he did very well on those. But he made enough money to come back to Detroit because he was living in New York at the time. He got his big national fame when he moved out to Los Angeles and did his show from there. But and he never moved back to Detroit. But a lot of people thought he lived there because he was around so often.
His real name was Milton. I believe I'm right about this. It was either Milton Hines, you know, Soupy, or Milton Supman.
It was Supman.
And when I met him, I get off the plane, and he's already in the limo, and I get in the limo, and he starts talking to me. I love that guy. He starts talking to me about his brother, and what a shitty brother he has. And I said, well, why is that so? He goes, you know, I'm pretty successful, and I'm not asking him to, you know, praise me to the skies, but every time we talk, he'll say something like, oh, I heard your show didn't do well last week. You know, why do you have to do that? I said, because he's jealous. He wants to be you. He goes, he's a very wealthy dentist. He says, so I said, okay, how many people in the United States know he's a wealthy dentist? And he goes, oh yeah, I see what you're saying. So I should call him now and say, you're a piece of shit. Well, that's up to you. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call him and say, my dear friend Sam Greenfield says you're a piece of shit. I go, is he mobbed up? And Sufi fell on the floor. And he goes, God, are you kidding me? If you said Bullet next to him, he'd think Roy Rogers has a dog. He's a dumb, he's a great dentist, but he's an idiot. And it's all he talked about that night. That's all he talked about. I said, yes, this is Sam Greenfield. If I had a decent brother, it'd be him. Not that piece of shit. Take it easy. It's okay. And I think my biggest disappointment, someone I worked with, was George Miller. He had a guy opening for him named Howard. I can't remember his last name. And this was a guy who really lived hand to mouth. I mean, like the jacket he had on, the sports jacket he got for like $9 at a thrift store. And I buy stuff from, but I mean, and we're having dinner, and George says to him, you know, Howard, you wouldn't have a career without me, would you? In front of other people. And Howard's like this, you know, nebbish. He goes, yeah, I guess you're right. Because let's face it, without me, you would never get any work. And I'm like, can you stop?
Howard Allen. Howard Allen? Is it Howard Allen?
Glasses, bald.
No.
It's not Allen.
No, different guy.
And so I said, you know, I said, can you stop? Jeez, how can anybody enjoy a meal? You're tearing this guy apart. And he doesn't mind. I said, he wouldn't say if he did. So George Miller comes up to me after the show and says, I'm going to tell you something. You just ruined your chance to middle for me in Houston, Texas. And I burst out laughing. I just burst out laughing. And I said, not Houston. Now, of course, I'd have to pay my own airfare, right? He goes, well, yeah. I said, it's awfully tempting, but it's okay. I ruined my chance. And he said, no cursing when you're in front of me. No cursing. And he said, motherfucker and cocks, you know. Yeah, I was disappointed. I thought he'd be a good guy, and he wasn't.
George, I knew George pretty well. Probably my favorite George Miller story was we had worked together quite a bit when he came through Detroit. Again, Detroit was a 5-club town. So
that's right.
Some of these comics could come through more than once a year, you know.
And make a fortune.
Yeah. And so, but anyway, now we're both out in LA, and we're both flying back to LA on a Sunday. And I think we were connecting in Dallas or Cincinnati. I don't know, one of the connecting cities. And the flight's canceled or delayed or something like that. And he sees me and he points to me and he kind of gives me a, come here. And I go over and I go, yeah. He says, comedian, right? I go, Mark Sweetman. He goes, yeah, Mark Sweetman. He goes, good. He goes, you got to stay with me. He goes, I don't know anybody else here. So
that's funny.
So I had to keep him company because he was just afraid of being, you know, left out there, being recognized.
Was it delayed overnight, or was it delayed?
No, it was delayed like 4 hours or something like that. So, but he needed somebody to deflect people.
He needed a buffer.
He needed a buffer, yeah. So, yeah, he got me some. He got me some spots too for that. So that was kind of nice. Most famous guy I ever worked for was Ridley used to headline me on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday when he ever had a headliner that would only do Friday and Saturday. And one of them, and then I would go drop back to the middle for whoever the headliner was. But that was I used to get that spot at a lot of rooms. And you needed somebody to close that wasn't somebody that would, you know, blow out the headliner once we got to Friday and Saturday. And Gabe Kaplan was that guy back in 95, I think, 95, 96, something like that. Anyway, and Gabe hired me to go with him on the road after that. Uh-oh. Did you catch that story?
Or maybe. Yeah, there
we go. Did you catch that story, Sam?
I heard the part about opening, and then I went away. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I don't know what the hell happened.
That's okay. Anyway, no, I was saying that I would be the opener middle. Often cases where I would close the show Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and perhaps Sunday, but Friday and Saturday he'd have a named headliner come in, and a lot of clubs would do this. I mean, I used to do this in California a lot too. And so one of the guys I did this for back in the mid '90s was Gabe Kaplan, and Gabe was considering a return to stand up, and he didn't want to go back with his old act. He was doing his old act because he knew it, and that's what gave him his fame. But he said,
he went through the motions for a long time.
Yeah, it was a dated act, and he just needed new material. And so, I was actually introduced to him not by Ridley, but by John Yoder, who also hired him. And so he worked it out with Yoder that I would tour with him through Ohio, Indiana, Illinois, and Missouri. And we would work at the showrooms at night and then write during the day. So
that's not bad.
It was a nice deal because it was like an extra $1,000 a week, you know, for a middle act. That wasn't bad. So I'd be getting the shitty Yoder money.
Shitty Yoder money.
Shitty Yoder money for doing the shows, and then $1,000 from Gabe for writing with him. That was kind of
shitty
cool.
Yoder money. That's almost like a mantra.
Yeah.
That's probably the most famous. And then, of course, I was from 88 to 92. I was one of the house MCs, one of the regular rotating MCs. There were 4 of us. Me, Jeffrey Joseph, the guy who's now the big film director now. Can't think of his name. 40-Year Virgin. Who's that guy?
Judd Apatow.
So it's me, Judd Apatow, Jeffrey Joseph.
I'm here for you.
Thank you. Jeffrey Joseph and a guy named it was John Mulrooney.
From New York.
Yeah. Well, when he was out in LA, he was one of the guys. And the thing back then was, out in the road, people were trying to get advance from MC because MC was the shit spot that everybody got.
That's correct.
But when you got to the Improv, you made more money, and you got seen by more people if you were the MC.
You got to hang out with Bud.
Yeah, that was all right.
He liked me. He
okay.
put me in front of
he liked me. You know when he liked me more? He liked me more when I was at one of his road rooms. Huh. Because when he was at Melrose, he liked me more at Santa Monica too. Was I at Santa Monica or Irvine, and he was there? He was a lot more because I think he was more comfortable in his Melrose room.
Much more.
And he was also had his eye out for who the celebrities were coming into his club and making sure they were treated well and everything. But when we were
that's a big deal to a club owner.
Yeah, it is.
That's a big deal. Julia Roberts was here. Red carpet. The first time I worked for him, the crowd was nothing but models, male and female models. And they were as dense as strontium 90. And he walked up to me after the show, and I bombed. I mean, they literally, this was their look. Okay, and he said to me, "I'm very sorry I had to put you up in front of that crew." I said, "Well, what happens?" He says, "It doesn't happen here that often. Normally we have people who can read. I'll make it up to you." So the next 2 nights later, he puts me up. I'm the 3rd act on the first show on Saturday. And I smoked. It was great. And he goes, "I knew you could do better than that." And I said, if I couldn't, I would have quit that night. I really would have. If that was the pièce de résistance, I would have quit. He goes, no, they were idiots. I said, "How do they all come in together?" And he said the only funny thing I ever heard Bud say, he goes, "Well, there was an idiot's bus." I go, "Oh, okay." He just said it like that. Yes. Oh, there was an idiot's bus. Oh, God. He's still around, him and his wife, him and his ex-wife.
Yeah. Oh, are they
Silver's
divorced?
still around. I think she's living with Zoe.
Oh, okay. Well, I knew Zoe briefly out in L.A. She was still a young kid at the time. But
She has a sister, right?
What's that?
She has a sister.
I don't remember.
Yeah, she has a sister who's gay.
I remember his wife Alex was there a lot when I was out there.
Well, she wanted to see him.
Like almost every night, I think.
She wanted to see him. You know, if you don't go to the club, you're not going to see him.
Yeah, she was gorgeous. She was gorgeous, though. She was definitely
beautiful.
She was definitely arm candy.
You know the story about Bud and Silver at the divorce, right? This is one of the great stories of all time. Okay. In his divorce decree, in her divorce decree, he could not build an improv within 100 miles of the original improv.
Okay.
Which is why you never see one in Philly or Jersey, okay? Or Connecticut. So Bud decides to build one in Atlantic City, okay? He put the down payment on the club. He starts to get a liquor license, and Silver Saunders Friedman got in her car and drove from the front. Yes, that's right. She drove from the front of the original improv to the front of that door, and it was 98 miles, and she scotched the deal.
Wow.
So the next time you meet someone who says, I think they're still bitter, mention that story.
Yeah.
Because that was years after the breakup. Years after the breakup. And she said, I'm sorry, it's 98. He says, you can't be serious. She goes, well, yes, I am. She just, it was like a knife. And there was no reason. She wasn't going to get a dime. There was no reason. There was no reason not to give it to him, except she hated him. There was the only reason. There was no other reason.
Bitterness. Wow.
That's almost beyond bitter. That's like acrid.
What did he do? What did he do?
He divorced her. He divorced her, married arm candy. Oh, by the way, small note. I had a CAT scan because of the pneumonia. I'm fine. Yeah. Everything's fine.
Good.
Oh, good.
Oh, awesome.
And the only thing that scared me was, because he has to tell you this, the doctor, Dr. Chadha, he said, there's
Dr.
a small
Chadha?
Chadda. Dr. Chadha.
Dr. Chadha. Dr. Chadha.
Chadha. Dr. Parmesan. And so,
Doctor. Is that
Dr.
cheese
Provolone.
Gouda? Is that cheese Gouda? Is that cheese Gouda? It's okay.
It's Gouda for you. It's Gouda for me.
Good for you.
So anyway, he said there's a small possibility, very, very small, but I have to tell you, it could be cancer. I said, you didn't have to.
Yeah.
You could have surprised me. I would have been all right. But it's nothing. It's clear. So my hematologist said, I've never met someone like you who gets sick as shit and then it's all gone. I've never met.
We had my colonoscopy last week.
Oh yeah, how'd that go?
That went well, and he called me a couple days ago after the biopsy of the polyps that he took out. He says, "Not cancerous. I don't have to see you for 3 years." I go, "Attaboy." So I don't have to.
I had mine 10 years ago.
Well, you're supposed to have. You're supposed to have them every 10 years. My wife is having her 10-year one on Wednesday, and but they always find shit in mine, so they always have me come in sooner rather than later.
They never found anything in mine.
Nothing's ever wrong with it. It's just polyps that are bigger than they should be. They get in the way of my excrement. I guess.
Yeah,
I don't know.
They found.
We're doing
Crater.
such a good job with this show.
I tell you what, I've talked to other people that have had this propofol, which I didn't know it because the first one that I had, Michael Jackson hadn't. I call it Michael Jackson milk. It's the drug that they put you out with. God. But it looks like I had never seen the syringe before. The syringe looked like I was in a comic. I was in a cartoon or something.
Like a 9-inch syringe?
It looked like something you'd see in a Warner Brothers Looney Tunes or something.
Looney Tunes.
And it looks like milk. I mean, it's just thick white liquid, but it is the best sleep. You wake up great. I mean, I if I had stitches, I probably wouldn't like it. You know what I mean? If I had like open heart surgery or something. But if all they're doing is putting me out so they can poke a camera up my butt, go for it. It's the most. I feel like I've gotten the best sleep of my life. I don't sleep that well, and I can see why Michael Jackson would have hired a doctor to give him that every night and to bring him out of it. Like
when I had mine, I came to, and they, the two nurses and the doctor was there, and as is my wont, I looked at them and I went, the morning I wake up, before I put on my makeup, I put a needle in my ass. And the nurse said, you're the best patient we've ever had. Can you come back next week? I said, not for all the money. In Tony, Pennsylvania. I'm never coming back to here. And so Dr. Bernstein said, I'll see you in 10 years. I said, really? 10? He goes, look at these pictures of your, I go, my ass. He goes, yes, that. And I go, I'm amazed that a guy who does what you do for a living is reluctant to say ass. I just, it's what you do. And he goes, well, just take a look. And it was as clear. I mean, it was just, I said, now this one here, that looks like the Luray Caverns. And I like that. I like that because that too is clear, except for this one stalactite I see. Except for that, I'm not happy. And he goes, no, you're clear as a bell. He said you're clear, which he said, frankly, is amazing for someone your age, but you're clear as a bell.
Got it.
And
it's all that hot sauce.
I'm sure.
Don't kid yourself, brother. I mainlined it. Oh, yeah. Oh, by the way, I'm going to that Van Gogh immersive experience on Wednesday. You know about that?
Yeah, we had it here in Detroit. I wonder if it must have moved on.
It's got to be the same thing.
It's got to be. I mean, why would they have more than one?
So get this. Oh, no, it's in several cities. So get this. So I bought my ticket, right? By the way, and I'm not exaggerating, it's a 15-minute walk from my house.
Oh, that's cool.
So my daughter says to me, and I'm going on Wednesday the 18th. She goes, do you know what Wednesday the 18th is at the Van Gogh experience? I said, no. She goes, it's Weed Day. I said, it's what? It's Weed Day, Dad. So I said, what do you mean? Well, you can go in and you can get high before you go in, take, gummies or pot, and then go in. And I go, but I'm not allowed to. Oh, Dad, you're going to get so fucking high. Who are you kidding? You're going to go up to someone and say, listen, I'm 73. Can I just buy a gummy? And they'll say, oh, here, take it. You will. You're good. She said, there's no one better than you. That you give them this. I'm 73. And
there's no one better than. There's your daughter. She knows you.
Yeah. And she goes, no, they'll give you one in a heartbeat, and then the experience will be. And she wanted to go, but she said, this leg thing, I can't. Fuck it. I'm not going to go. So I'm going at 2, and then, well, stoned like I will be, I will then go see my doctor, and he doesn't give a shit. I asked him about that, and I said, I'm a little worried about getting high. He said, be worried about smoking it.
Did we lose him, or did we lose me?
Mark?
You're in very good health. You really are. Don't worry about it. So, I take his word. I take his word.
So Sam, are you a sin eater? Are you like the guy that eats the meal at the funeral to take all the sins from the guy who was in the box?
Can I tell you something interesting about that? I have an uncle who was a lovely man. He died 15 years ago. One of the best people I've ever known. And there's a side of my family I do everything in my power to avoid. They're like little, I'm writing a play about them called the Shiva Eaters. They go, when people are sitting Shiva, they will go to someone's house and eat the fucking. They're horrible. So while the Shiva Eaters, while the rabbi is saying something nice about my uncle, right? This terrific, talented, great artist, this bitch Claire, gets up and there's food, there's a spread, and starts taking food. While he's doing, no one else is sitting. So I walk over to her and I'll go, I walk up, I said, put the food down or I'm going to take it away from you and I'm going to mash it in your face. She goes, you will. I said, I haven't seen you in 25 years. I will mash it right in your fucking face. Sit down. So she sits down and I sit down. And my daughter at the time was 7. And she goes, did you threaten to hurt her? And I went, yes. She goes, good. Good. So even at 7, my daughter, what's she doing getting up? Who is this bitch? At 7, who is this? I said, she said, is this a side of the family you won't let me see? I go, yeah. She goes, thank you. Just, what are you doing? Jesus. Horrible people. Horrible. So I took her plate and I ate what was on it and I didn't feel guilty at all. You ever watch reruns of Monk?
Yeah,
I have.
I love watching it. It's a great show. Best show on reruns.
Yeah. Do you know who played a villain? Andy Richter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Was that in the first 2 seasons?
Oh, by the way, speaking of playing, we were talking about Roy Scheider talking about how he loves those anthology shows that have all the old
like
actors.
Love Boat, Murder She Wrote. Yeah, because they give actor his age, work.
And I mentioned my idea for having the comic who was a cop, and everywhere now he's on the road as a comic, and everywhere he goes there's a murder.
That's great.
I threw it. I know I mentioned it last week, and you guys said I had to pitch it, so I made inroads on that this week. So I got together with my writing partner, and it looks like we're going to pitch that. So yeah. I don't do things on my own because Gary gets me at such a high level. I don't want to fuck around with anybody.
Perfect. That's exactly what so listen, once it goes to pilot, you're going to need someone to play a grumpy, disheveled captain.
You're in.
I'm here for
How about the homeless guy?
You're in. No,
I can take out my teeth. I'm willing to take my teeth out.
I had a hooker say that to me, so you don't impress
I know.
Me.
Yeah. You're not very impressive, Andy. Once you get a hooker to do that for you, so I think what would be but we started batting the things around, and he goes, well, you're going to write a part for. He says to me, you're going to write a part for you, aren't you? I go, yeah. I'm going to be So the comic is going to be it's basically going to be one of my kids, because he's going to be an adult now who gets a near fatal police incident where he gets shot, and so he's going to collect his pension and retire
and pursue another career,
which is comedy, which is what his dad always wanted to do. And so I'm writing myself as that. I'm writing myself as a dad who's adopted a black kid. And I go, we can do all the stuff that we did when we were writing the sitcom, except what this would be a murder. It'll be like Murder, She Wrote meets In the Heat of the Night with
there you go.
With Carol O'Connor.
How great would it be? It wouldn't be great, but how funny would it be if you pitch this and the person you're pitching it to goes, an adopted black kid? I don't see it.
I don't see it. You want to see him? Here's my wallet.
Well, when we pitched,
and then he looks at me, Sam, have you ever seen anything like? Nah, I don't know.
When we pitched the sitcom, Gary says to me, he gives me some notes afterwards, and then he calls me back and he says, all right, I talked to him. They said no. He says, but they gave me these studios where they thought, because we went right to the networks. We went right up to.
Why fuck around?
Oh yeah, we went right to the vice president of comedy programming for NBC and ABC.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah,
so anyway, right. and so he says, but they gave me some names of people's studios. And this was about the time, that's like 3 years ago, when Hulu was getting into original programming and Amazon was already doing it, and everybody was, you could probably get something on the Weather Channel. You could probably get you make it weather related. You could get something sitcom on the Weather Channel.
Don't kid yourself.
Yeah. So anyway, so then he says to me, he goes, maybe we got to retool this and make your wife a black woman. That might. I go, don't tell my wife. Whatever you do, don't tell my wife.
Just don't. Just don't.
Why don't we? Okay, pitch it that way, but then let's
Yeah.
ink the deal and get the 6 figures in the bank, and then you can tell her that the studio told us to do that. That
Well,
wasn't.
no. What they should do
Then you can-
is have you both be a black couple adopting white kids. Then
You know,
black-
you know,
a black-
you know what? That'll be, if we ever do get a sitcom or a series, whatever kind of series we get, that will be a scene, because at our rec center where the pool is, I'm going to tell you, the kids are about probably 5, 6, and 7. My 3 that are bunched together like that, 5, 6, and 7, and we're at the pool. It's an indoor pool. It was, even though it was summertime, it was still the indoor pool.
Too hot to swim outside.
Yeah. And there was another family there. It was a black couple with 3 white kids.
Well, you know, that's
And it was-
go ahead.
And it was funny too, because what I thought was going to happen did happen. When my kids were acting up, the lifeguard comes over and chews out the other parents because their kids were getting out of line, you know. And so, so the guy goes. The guy's name was, I think it was McKinney. Anyway, the guy says, "Oh, you just pick us because we're black?" And he goes, "No, because the kids were black." Oh, the kids are acting up because they're black. I go, no. These are my, and so I'm like interrupting. I go, no, these are my kids. They were acting up. They were horrible. I mean, you know, I can see how he might be confused, but let's keep it.
There was a story about a Karen who called the police because the black guy was with a white kid. It was his kid. And the cops said, I saw this on, they took it off of CNN. They took it off. But this is what he said to her. He said, "I can't do this anymore. I can't keep coming to talk to women like you who see something that's perfectly fine and decides to ruin it. I want to arrest you so badly. I'm aching. So let me make you a promise. If this is my district, if I get another call and it's you, I'm going to arrest you before I find out what happened."
I think I saw that. I didn't see what the clip was about, but I did see it.
That guy's my hero. That guy is my hero. You know, you nasty, miserable, racist bitch, just please stop. Oh, man. Oh, did you hear the one? This happened in Detroit, I think. A black guy was showing 2 black people a house. And so they called the cops and they cuffed all of them.
Yes, that did happen here.
Oh, to be his lawyer. Oh, God, to be their lawyer.
Believe me, they advertise that type of case the way they advertise car crashes in other cities.
Are you kidding me? That's Salino, baby.
Yeah, have you?
That is so. Barnes is dead, but that is Salino. Oh yeah. Although he wouldn't do that because he does personal injury.
But they sell it like that, you know.
Well, you know, my dream is to not get hurt, but get hit by a car. And the driver is drunk and he tries to hit and run and they catch him. And when the cops come to me, I lay there and I go, "Please tell me he's insured." And they go, "He is." And I'm on the phone before he finishes the word "is." That's my wife said, you know what's wrong with you? You think of that as your annuity. That's going to be, I go, but it's perfect. I don't get seriously hurt, right? He was drunk and he tried to hit and run. It's $12 million.
Sam is on his road to financial independence.
How did it happen? All you got to do is put your fat ass in front of a Buick. That's all. Just put your fat Hebrew ass in front of a Buick.
A year ago now, they changed the law in Michigan. It used to be that our insurance rates were the worst in the country because the auto insurance would pay for all medical issues on your accident, whether you were at fault or not. And the health insurance companies had, even if you had like the best health care, if you were in an auto accident, you would walk in as soon as it came in on an ambulance and they found out you were whisked to the finest wing. You know, they always found room for you at that hospital because everything was paid for by the auto insurance companies. And then they changed that a year ago. Now they limit it. Now they limit it to like $400,000 or something.
Oh,
Well,
man.
that's they still have the no fault, which is $1 million.
It's still no fault, but it's not unlimited like it had been. You could, if you got in a car accident, the attorneys were at the hospital waiting for these. They didn't chase the ambulances; they waited in the waiting room at the hospital for the ambulances to come in.
Jesus Christ.
Well, now wait a minute. They still have the old version of the no fault, but they have a ton of other no faults that say no fault, but they're not no fault. So they want it to confuse the people buying it, thinking they're getting the same stuff, but it's not. It's like $10,000 or $5,000, and that's all you're covered.
It's not unlimited. It's not unlimited. It's not unlimited anymore. And I mean, if you got a good agent, they'll explain that to you. But they did it because there were people driving without insurance because insurance is ridiculous. I've got in my house 1, 2, 3. We've got 6 drivers in my house now. We're paying over $10,000 a year in auto insurance.
Well, Louis C.K. One of the reasons I wouldn't. I think I told you this. I wouldn't drive with him. He would drive without a license. He would drive without insurance. One time we were both doing a NACA thing up in Hartford, Connecticut, and I had a round trip train ticket. I didn't know he was going to be there. So he says to me, "Sam, you want to ride back?" I went, "Nope." He says, "I'll get there." And I said, "Nope." He goes, "Why?" I go, "Louis, where's your driver's license? May I see it?" And he goes, all right. And then he just walked to his car.
How do you get a car without a license?
He had insurance. He let it lapse.
No, okay.
He's the most. I'm not saying this because of what happened with those women, but he's the most irresponsible person I've ever met in my life.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing he was able to put together so many shows.
It is more than you know. It just is. But by the way, I don't know if I told you this. The Comedy Cellar let him perform.
You told us that last week. You told us that last week
about Cosby.
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know if Cosby's actually going to do a show.
Does he need to? I mean,
he wants to.
He wants to. Well, yeah. You know what though? If you think about it, some of his best albums were those dinner club albums that he did, and all he needs is like 60 to 70 people in a room that are fervent fans, and he can get his nut off, I guess, for what he needs to do.
Nice choice of words considering it's him.
Yeah.
Do you think, both of you guys, do you think that if he does a show, he will bring that up?
Absolutely not.
What do you think, Andy?
What were we talking about here?
Bring up the crime that he committed. Crimes that he committed.
Oh, that Cosby, if he did a show, would bring up his crimes? Yeah, he would.
I think he would.
He would.
I think he'd make fun of
It's all about his life.
He doesn't think
if he can make.
Yep.
If he can make light of it, if he can make fun of it, that's what he would try and do.
He says he didn't do it. He'll make fun of those women.
Yeah.
Now, when that happens,
who's going to want to see that though?
If the same men, and it's men who say, well, you know what happened? These women walked into a party and they were given Quaaludes, and you have to tell them, no, they went to his hotel room to get advice on being an actress, and he slipped a Mickey in their drink. They weren't handed a Quaalude. And by the way, if you are handed a Quaalude, it's damn near a date rape drug. And he knew this. He said this at the trial.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not to offer Cosby advice, but if I were, I would say that really, in order for that, I think he could come back. It will not be easy, but the crux of his material has to be how he and his wife are getting over this. If he needs to do stuff about that, it has to be.
Then it can't be. It has to be more.
It can be comedy. He can make himself the stooge, make his wife the hero. You know what I mean? I'm not sure he knows how to do that. He never brings her
up in his act, though. I mean, like 40 years ago, he brought her up. But as a rule, he never brings her up in his act.
Not since his kids grew up, but I mean, when he was getting married and had babies,
right? When he had babies,
talk about his wife.
Right. Right.
Because his
yeah.
wife's cat. Because his wife's
He is
that
gonna
one
he's
famous,
gonna ignore
that
his
one
wife.
famous
He's gonna
line.
ignore his wife, and he's gonna just make it look like those women wanted him or wanted to
That's
screw
right.
him.
That's
That's what
right.
he's going to do.
And what I
He's-
keep saying, and I know a couple of guys who feel that way, and what I say to them is 60 women, really, 60. No. If it was 2 or 3 plotting to, shake him down, I could see that. 60? No. No. Absolutely not. Well,
Yeah.
kids, it's an hour and a half of pure mirth.
It was fun.
All right.
It was.
Hey, good to see everybody again. We'll be back here again next week at 8 o'clock.
Tell Kathy to bring her agent with her. We have
I've got one Star Trek idea. I want to do a Blue Man Group with Klingons. There you go.
I like it. I like that.
I want to do a story about the fact that the 2 most famous science fiction heroes of the 20th century were Jews from Canada. I can never get over that.
Yeah,
can't get over that. It just kills me. Shatner and Nimoy. It just kills me. It is.
Canadian Jews.
Are always good.
Are we in space now? I can't believe we're in space.
I'm in space. Where's the
So what's this? We can talk about it next week, but I hear Shatner's got a show coming up. It's going to be
He's indestructible. He is truly indestructible.
It'll be a show in the 90s. He'll have 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and now a show in his 90s. Yeah,
I believe he's 90. Yeah, God.
He just turned 90. I was at the convention, so
you drown your wife, and suddenly your career is yours.
Yeah, let's talk about that. Let's talk about that convention next week too. Sorry we didn't get there.
That'll be fun. That'll be a lot of fun. Bring pictures.
All right, well, thanks everybody. Let me see if I got some music to go out on here. Oh nope, I already unplugged my speaker.
Then the hell with it.
So the hell with it. See everybody next week, 8 o'clock Monday night, right here on YouTube. Bye.
Bye.
I should